currently we're having a chat with Paul Barry. He's a writer and actor currently living in LA. Studied in NIDA a few years ago. And now, yeah, he's bringing his dream to life over in LA, and we're here to have a conversation for all artists and really anyone out there kind of that wants to start making a bit of money and start, putting their efforts into something that they actually care about rather than working for a company or for a person that isn't really doing the justice to them that they deserve. And Paul here has come up with quite a fantastic idea to help everyone achieve that and to help everyone get involved in that. So, Paul, do you want to just give everyone like a little bit of context behind what it is that the idea is, like what the website is and what it is to you and how we can get involved?
For sure, yeah. Well, I'll post the link to it when we finish chatting here in the comments so everyone can have a look at it. But it's called Dreaming for a Living, which is something that Steven Spielberg once said. He was talking at a commencement address to a bunch of graduates and said, he's been lucky he doesn't dream at night, he dreams all day, he dreams for a living. And I thought that was such a great phrase and a great philosophy that actors, writers, directors, filmmakers, we all effectively want to be able to make money from what we love doing. But
Yeah.
even the people that are working a lot in the industry aren't necessarily getting paid a great deal, and those that are relying mostly on residuals really to get by. And look, this started because I've been chipping away at this for years. I realized in 2014 I wrote an article called 20 Incomes for Artists, and back then it was dealing with Lyft and Uber and Airbnb and transcribing services and being a virtual assistant and basically
Nothing really to do with
scrabbling
what you.
together pennies basically. And back then it was still doing that horrible thing that Robert T. Kiyosaki talks about, which is swapping your time for money. And that means if you want to scale up your income, you have to scale up the number of hours you do. And of course,
So in terms of your the webinar itself, like for someone, for someone that would be starting out from scratch, like from someone that doesn't understand tech, like how to navigate through the business world on an online platform, like how will your webinars and how does your process cater for people that don't know where to start and that don't really understand what they're doing, but they're interested, but they're looking and they need some guidance and some help? How does the webinar and how does your process kind of guide them through that
I
predicament?
mean, look at this. I've been on a number of Facebook Lives, but I've done them either by myself, so I just hit the button, or other people invite me to them, or we do webinars or whatever. But even today, we had our little stumbling block, but we worked it out. Now we know how to do it. We're not going to screw that up again, right? And
Yeah.
that's how easy it is. Like everything has exponential growth. Human development is having exponential growth. Machine learning is having exponential growth. People's finances are having exponential growth. And it's completely free and it has all sorts of different functions. And all of these things are just tools. They're just tools. Once you know how to use them, then it's like, what are you going to do with it? I can teach you how to use a
Yeah.
hammer. I can teach you how to use a drill, a screw, a saw, an angle grinder. But what are you going to do with those things once you can use them? And that's mainly what my webinar is about, because anyone can teach you these skills. You can Google these skills. You can Google, next, money making gold mine online, and you'll find all sorts of things. But what are you going to do with that information? And that's what I teach.
How are you going to use it?
And
Yeah.
if you know how to right click and open something, which I joke about because some people just don't know how to right click, but but if you can click on something and you have an internet access and you have half a brain at least, then you can learn to do this stuff. And some of it is
Definitely.
so simple that it could never have happened before. I think I say to other people, I've said, oh, if only I knew this 10 years ago. Well, wouldn't have mattered if I knew it 10 years ago because it didn't exist. Interesting. And this is all a part of what I deal with at the very beginning of the webinar. I guess I'll give it a little bit away. But as artists, I think that our very impression of social media, society, the man, institutions, ads, Google, analytics, all of this kind of stuff. I believe that as society, we're quite cynical these days anyway, and that's been promoted for with billions of dollars. It's been promoted to sell political agenda. But I think that we, as artists, are in particular quite skeptical and quite defensive about and quite resistant to the very things that are going to make us wealthy. And this is what I can see my pictures breaking up. Can you still hear me clearly?
Yeah, I got you. I'm all
Okay,
good.
great.
Yeah.
So we are quite resistant to the things that are going to help us.
What? How do you combine that sales method and the method of working online? But how do you combine that with the being artistic? How do you combine that with doing something creative? And how do you mesh the two fields? Because
Well,
like online work, technology work, social media work is very parallel to acting or music or writing, directing, whatever it may be. Like they're two quite different mediums. So how does for someone that really does just want to get stuck into their creative work, how would your webinars, like how do they infuse that artistic drive as well?
well, it's a really perfect question, and that makes me feel like I need to be clearer about that in the webinar. So thank you. So I'll go and I'll do that after this conversation. But I
No
guess the
worries.
first thing I'd say is, I guess the way I've been pitching it is that you can create an online income. That's not entirely true. You can use this online world to generate a greater income for less work. And that might be, I've got a client who's a personal trainer and I'm a vegan and he's a vegan, and I was saying, dude, that's a really great niche for you. There are so many people that are just vegan trainers, but I Googled vegan personal trainer here in LA, and one website came up with a whole bunch of crappy website with a whole bunch of different uh, people on it, I guess, that were supposedly vegan trainers. I clicked on them. Half the pages didn't work. The other half, most of them didn't look like they were vegan trainers. The rest of them looked like they would just come out of like Rikers or somewhere. And I was like, if somebody just got online and created a program for people to do personal training on a vegan diet, you already, dude, you've cornered the market, and the market doesn't even exist at the moment, you know. So when you find a
Yeah.
niche, this is what I go into in the webinar, is when you find a niche, and in particular a niche within a niche, and a niche within a niche within a niche, or as we say in Australia, a niche. Um, Once you find something so incredibly unique, yes, you will cut out 99% of the people that will be interested, but the 1% that are interested will be what Kevin Kelly calls your 1,000 true fans. And over a lifetime, if you can get 1,000 people to contribute $1,000 each to your business, that's $1 million business. Now, if you can make that
Mm,
lifetime 5 years or 2 years or 1 year, or like many people online at the moment, 6 months to $1 million business, um,
mm.
then then why on earth would you need to be working a day job or a survival job that you hate, or even that you don't really like that much? So Harry asks, what are the benefits to me watching the webinar? Are you a performer or actor or writer? Are you in this industry, Harry? Do you know, Tom, is
Uh,
Harry?
yeah, I can answer that for you. No, Harry. So Harry works. He's a freelance worker. He's a Pommy. He's from England.
Yep.
And his job. I don't know. It's a hard one to describe, and he'll give me some flack for this later on, I'm sure. But it's he works in almost similar to what you're like trying to do with this webinar. He creates online platforms for businesses, and he works out how to create online ads, and build an online platform for their business. Basically, cutting out the middleman so they don't have to actually do that work
Great.
themselves.
Perfect. Yeah.
And he works as a freelancer. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So sounds
So
like.
similar fields, similar,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
similar fields.
So, I mean, I don't know, Harry. This is I'm running this specifically to start with for actors, writers, directors, filmmakers, because for the most part they're not aware at all of any of this stuff. If you've been doing this for a while, you've been doing sort of internet marketing or online marketing or anything like that for a while, I'd love to have you. But you may go, yeah, cool, I know a lot of that. But even that's okay, because as I said at the beginning, a lot of the stuff that is in the webinar is just tools that anyone can find if they just Google. And as you'll see, the more you click on research these tools, the more of them are going to start appearing in your feed. So it'll only be a short period of time. Harry is probably just like me. Every third thing that pops up in my news feed is about some new piece of software or some new money-making thing or some new entrepreneurial kind of venture. So Harry, I'd love to have you there. You may be able to contribute stuff that I don't even know, but for me, the stuff that's in there are tools that anyone can find. But what I'll be talking about and what I hope I'll be sharing is that the creativity that we bring to the party, I believe is going to make us even more successful than someone who is just providing the service that anyone can find online. You can actually go to www.dreamingforaliving.com/webinar, but I'll put the link in there later. Sorry, where was I?
So I guess, well, I was just going to ask you, Paul. So from a, like, say from, like, you know, kids like actors in Sydney being my age, like 20 upwards, 22, 23, however old you are, like it's a hard and it's a big leap to go from a constant job, constant income, security, all of that. It's hard to take that leap and then to, you know, kind of put all your eggs into the basket of this webinar. What can you offer as comfort to the people that are heavily considering dropping and just taking this on? How quickly can you see the turnaround of income being? Because for someone like myself, like, I'd have to start earning pretty bloody quickly to be able to sustain my life and to support myself. So yeah, what can you offer on that regard?
You should. I should be writing all these down. I'll write all of these down when this Facebook Live finishes, because you're asking such great FAQs. You know, these are the perfect frequently asked questions. One of the, so in amongst, I've probably in the last 3 or 4 months, I've attended about 60 live webinars, and from that I've learned a great deal. So 60 live webinars is about 70 to 90 hours of research, and then I've done lots of courses and I've invested a lot of money and a lot of time in this. But one of the things I heard recently was, in terms of quitting your day job, this millionaire was saying, listen, I don't suggest anybody quit their day job until they're making at least 3 times as much money online as they are from their day job. But considering a lot of actors are making $20,000 a year if they're lucky, and I remember back when I was an actor, I mean, if I'd made $12,000 a year, that was sometimes not a surprising year. So how the hell did, I mean, I can't, it's like when Spielberg said he couldn't possibly make Duel again today on the budget he had back then. I'm like, I don't know how I would survive with that budget, even if you're proportional to today. So I would say the safe thing is that you don't go swapping anything just yet. What you do is you introduce a couple of hours here and there of this kind of work, and it is work. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. So you introduce a couple of hours here and there of this kind of work, and you start to see what it is. Maybe you'll start getting $30 a day. Maybe you'll get one client, and depends on what you do. If you want to do affiliate marketing, if you want to be high-ticket personal coaching or performance coaching. If you want to do, you can do drop shipping. I don't recommend it for those reasons I mentioned before, but there's lots of different things that you do. But affiliate marketing, for instance, there'll be some little campaigns that you can run that might make you $50 a day. Now, $50 a day is what's $100 a day. So it's, I write by saying, is that $15,000 a year? No, I'm probably completely wrong. But anyway, it's money that you have that was just from doing a couple of hours here and there. Is the general idea of the webinar to show you how to set up an online business, which in turn enables you to follow your passions. Yes, dude, absolutely. So, you know, the pitch is pretty much exactly what you just said. Why don't you make much more money online for much less time so that you can get back to doing what you love, which is what Spielberg said, dreaming for a living, because life is way too short, and also well beyond life's too short, you got to follow your dreams. I do honestly believe that we are put here to do this. And if we don't get over the fact that this is kind of a hobby that we do, and it's really nice when we get the opportunity, and oh, isn't it great we get paid occasionally? We need to go beyond that and say, no, 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 no. I must be doing this because everybody will benefit from it. And we go, oh, that's egotistical or that's arrogant. But it can't be. Like, we have to believe, Stanislavski or Chekhov or Shakespeare or Artaud or even Sylvia Plath or anybody that you can name as an artist, or Kerouac. We have to believe that what we are putting out into the world is going to change the world in some meaningful way. And if that's the case, if we aren't doing our passions, our art, then the world is missing out. So the first thing we need
that's exactly right. What I was saying when we first had a chat, you know, like there's a huge difference between believing in yourself and what you can do compared to an ego, you know. And I think that difference is shown in the actions that you take. And when you're working in this regard, you know, in this kind of field and in this kind of work, like, it gives you, if you work hard enough and you get to a point where you have a voice and people listen, like, you're in a position where you can make great influential change because people do listen. But like you said, you know, to get yourself to that 1% and to get yourself into that class, it takes an unbelievable amount of self-belief and you got to dig deep, and and like people confuse that, which frustrates me. People confuse that with being egotistical or arrogant. And I don't believe that's the case. Like, if you're saying that and then you're not taking the actions to make it happen, then it's arrogant and then it's egotistical. But if you're saying that and then you're doing the actions and you're bringing the results, it's just believing in yourself.
When I think about the amount of time that I've spent, like, I work 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, but I don't have to. Like, when I think a lot, wow, I'm so busy. Well, I've been so busy for the last year in particular, because, well, up until that point, I was so busy because I was swapping my time for money, and I needed more money, or I wanted more money. So then I had to dramatically increase the time. So I just didn't sleep. In recent times, I've been spending that extra time that I don't need to be doing to becoming a master at as many of these things as I can. Now, I've only been doing this for a year. So, you know, how much can one master it? But what I'll teach you in the webinar is a number of ways that you don't even need to be a master of any of these things to be able to sell yourself as a master. And that's not lying, as long as you know that you can 100% deliver the goods. Now, you don't personally have to do the goods, but you have to be able to deliver them. So if you know that can be done, then you can say to someone, I can get that done for you.
With this process, how do you connect these creatives and these people that want to create this online platform? How does this help connect them with business partners and businesses online? Like, is that a thing you find yourself? Is that do you go out and find your own clients? Do you research your own clients, or do you help
not wanting this
as well? Or?
Not wanting this to turn into the webinar itself. I don't want to give away everything in that, because I don't want to get it wrong here, where I've got a really great, I think, clear presentation there that goes for about 60 to 80 minutes, and then there'll be a Q&A at the end. And as I say in the invitation, which I'll post the link below after this is over, at the very end of offering you all of that free advice and free directions and free value, then at the very end I will offer you, if you want to hang around and listen to it, an opportunity to join me in my paid program. And in that paid program, one of the things that I do is I give people their first client. So either if they go, it depends on which market they take and sort of which sort of online revenue stream they want to follow. If you want to go sort of the agency route, then you need a client. That's what you need. If you're going coaching, then you might need a sales funnel created for you. If you're going another angle, you might just need, you're going the e-commerce route, you may just need Facebook ads or Google ads or Amazon ads or something, or Amazon optimization or something like that. So depending on which way the people go, I will give them that start. And there's two different packages that people can effectively choose. One is done with you and one is done for you. Swapping time for money. As soon as I started doing my ebook, and that was making me money while I slept, as soon as I started doing my online memorization course, and I dramatically reduced the number of live hours that I did with clients, and the rest was pre-recorded videos. And then, of course, the next thing you do is you go, great, I'm going to do this kind of training, where right now we have 9 people right now, maybe 20 people have come and gone since we've been here, and everybody can get the benefits from the same conversation, rather than you and I having to have this conversation 20 different times.
There are no longer any excuses. Like, there's no, I can't, I don't know how to do this. I haven't got the time to do that. Like, you got everything we need is, what's up, how you doing? Yeah, everything we need is right there, you know. Like, even just the example of us trying to figure out how to work out this flipping live video, you know, like 2 seconds later we had it figured out because I'd Googled how do you set it up, you know. And that's just an example of everything that is today. So I think, combined with a little bit of guidance on that first webinar. Oh, hang on, Eddie's just got a question for us.
The idea is how to set up.
So just out of Paul, do you want to take that one away?
I'm trying to. What does it say after? It says How have
Basically,
you?
Eddie's asking: is this webinar and is this course restricted to just creatives? Is it open to anyone that wants to start an online platform, start
Yeah,
making extra
so
money?
I
I'm
mean,
assuming.
I want to be clear in terms of starting an online
Good question.
business. I'm not a business manager. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not any of those things. So I'm not going to give you any advice on being an accountant or, figures or money or anything like that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to open your mind to the possibilities of what is out there so that you can take, like I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he's working 60 hours a week, and he said, yeah, someone offered me this opportunity to do this other job and it'd be really great. I said, oh, why would it be great? He goes, because I'd only have to work 40 hours a week. And I just went, oh my God, he's excited, and he should be because it's 20 hours less, but he's excited because he would only have to work 40 hours a week. And I'm sitting here going, I know ways that you can make up that extra 20 hours worth of income in an hour, and you're getting
Mm,
excited about being able to cut down to 40 hours a week. And so I had a big conversation with him, and he in particular, hey Don, hey Jess, and he in particular would, I hope he goes for it. He's attending the webinar, but in what he does is a filmmaker, and what he does in particular, I think with the niche within a niche that I think he should go down, he's going to have no competition. I know nothing like it, and I'm not even going to give it away because someone will do it before him. But if he does this, he can create a high ticket coaching program that he will make $5,000, $6,000 per sale, and he can make 10 of those, 15 of those, 20 of those on a webinar. And he wouldn't even need the webinar. He could do it on a Facebook Live like this. And I think that's what
mm,
we as creatives, and I'm not excluding anyone who wants to come, but I'm only marketing specifically to creatives because I do believe that that's the missing element that we have when it comes to selling our ideas. And I know everyone hates the concept of selling, and what I teach in this program is how you don't have to sell. The customers and clients will actually come to you because what you're providing is so awesome, and they've heard about you and they see that the results are fantastic, that they will actually come to you. So the element of, oh God, I don't want a sales job and I don't want to be on the phone and I used to work in a call center and I hate retail. Well, you don't need to worry about any of that. You can create, it's a choose your own adventure,
sure.
and we agree on. So I want to be clear
Yeah,
that what I'm
exactly.
talking about means that you have the total freedom, not just freedom of the kind of job you want to do, but freedom with your clients. And I say you want to, like the stuff I've heard is you want to really attract the people you want to work with and actively repel the people that you do not want to work with. So yes, you can
Mm,
keep it broad and you end up pleasing nobody, but get very specific. And even if you have 5 people paying you $1,000 a month for your service because you're providing such incredible value, that's $5,000 a month you're making for what could be a couple of hours work a month. Could be. It
yeah,
could be 5 hours work.
exactly.
It could be 100 hours work, but it's going to be a hell of a lot less than you're doing now,
Than what
and a
you'd be
hell of a
doing in
lot
a month.
more money than you're making right now. And a lot of that can become, if you do it smart, residual income.
Mm,
Whereas you
yeah.
working in the shop you're working in right now, that will never be residual income. Once you stop working, they stop paying you. So my ebook,
Mm,
it's only $15, but when someone pays that, I don't need to do anything for that $15. I spent years writing it, but now it's written. If
mm,
someone downloads that ebook for $15, I make money and I don't need to be there. It's all completely on autopilot. My memorization
yeah.
course, which is a higher ticket item than that, I do a bit of work because I do the live coaching like this with people at the beginning and the end, but for the most part, that's largely automated. So when people purchase
Mm,
that, that's something that I can make as a largely passive income, but not entirely. And so what I'm going to be doing with people is teaching them how they can find the market that is right for them, find the job that is right for them, find the tools that they need, um, and then how to find clients and get them started and all that kind of stuff. So I'll be teaching all of that
de-
at the Dream. I'll post that. We'll hang up shortly, and I'll post that in the comments here. But a lot of that will be taught for free. Then, as I say, I'll be offering the chance at the end to check out my paid program. People don't want to do it. That's totally fine. But I hope by then, even this conversation, I hope there'll be people that will start thinking differently and start investigating what they can do online. At this point in my life, all of the struggles that I've had have come from pretty much ignorance and fear. fear of
Mm.
doing something better in case it was going to be worse, and ignorance because I didn't know that there was anything better. Now I can't go back. I can't. And now I can't even let you. You called me the other day and we chatted as complete strangers, and it was probably longer than this conversation that we had then.
Yeah.
And I can't let anyone, if I see someone on a Facebook thread say what I saw months ago, someone was basically going to get evicted from their house. I can't let that happen now. And back then I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. I can't help them. Now I know how they can help themselves. And it's not
Yeah.
guaranteed to make you lots of money, but if they do the work and if they're not working, then they have the time, then they can certainly make money. They can start for free. If you've got more money, things get easier. If you've got shitloads of money, it's a hell of a lot easier. But then if you're an idiot and you're lazy, then you'll fail anyway. But if you're smart, you're creative, you're passionate, and you're doing it for the right reasons, then there is just
It's
a,
all go.
just an incredible amount of opportunity out there. And because everything is exponential, the amount of opportunity is growing exponentially as well. There is so much
Mm.
stuff out there now that if all you could do was solve people's problems with being overwhelmed by all of the opportunities, then you could make a fortune here. But it's called Dreaming for a Living. It's a webinar for you to be able to learn how to make much more money online for much less time, so you can eventually get rid of the day job and spend all of your time doing what Spielberg said is, I don't dream all day. I don't dream at night. I dream all day. I'm dreaming for a living. So that's the whole premise of the idea. And I'd love to see as many people there as possible, learn a lot. Let's change some lives. And yeah, and all of that good stuff.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Paul, and thanks, guys, for everyone that jumped on and made some comments and all that sorts of great questions and all that. That's
Yeah,
it's
thank
good.
you everybody
It's what
for
we need.
watching.
And yeah, Paul, I'll chat to you soon, mate.
Okay,
Have a
man.
good
Sure.
afternoon.
All right. See you later. Bye.
See you, mate.